Hey everyone, okay, so today I'm going to be discussing with you foundations for very, very light and very, very deep dark skin. Now, all of us with skin tones that are in between, it's very easy to find foundations because the truth is that they cater to light to medium tan skins very, very well, most companies. But when you have skin that's very, very pale or very, very deep, it can become much harder to find a foundation that will actually match your skin tone and the undertones that your skin can have. So we're going to discuss briefly some of the things that you can do, and in the description bar below are a list of foundations for very light and very, very deep skin tones. If you have very light skin tone, it can be very difficult to find a foundation because oftentimes you really do need one that is so light that you really aren't catered for that well. Another thing with very, very light, almost translucent skin is that it very rarely is actually what you would call white. And oftentimes when your skin really is that pale, it really does tend to have a more sort of pink undertone to it, or a cooler undertone. Not always, but often it's a cooler undertone. And foundations are now moving towards more yellow-based foundations, which is a good thing for some of us and not for others. But with that kind of really light skin, the cooler side tends to be more predominant. Now, as I mentioned, in the description bar below, you'll find the list of foundations that cater to very light skin tones. When you're dealing with very white skin or very, very light skin, please bear in mind that bronzers will probably not look that amazing on you because your skin is so light. Giorgio Armani do a sheer bronzer that is very, very light. It has a tiny bit of shimmer to it, which really isn't a problem, and that can look quite nice around the perimeter of the face to just give it a bit more color. But really with pale skin, what you're looking for is to add a flush and pink cheek, that kind of thing to it, to give it more life. And when you've got this kind of gorgeous white, pale, beautifully creamy skin, then you can of course really play up the cheeks and make them look absolutely glowing and gorgeous and like you've just been out from the cold. So all these things are great. So I know oftentimes we always want what we can't have, which is we really light skin, we want to have a nice tan, and you know, don't worry about it. Sometimes we have to accept, you know, we just have to accept things, and when you are very, very pale, accepting that and working for it and making it work for you, as oftentimes a lot of very pale women do, is one of the best things you can do. You know, going against the trends, you know, the trend is really to have quite tan skin and all that, and by going against that, you are going to stand out from the crowd and look absolutely amazing. So check out the description for great foundations for really pale skin. Now, as far as deeper skin tones go, it becomes much more complicated, and the reason being is because the undertones on very deep skin vary. The undertones can be blue, they can be yellow, they can be orange, oftentimes they're red, and it's very hard to find foundations that have those undertones because most of the foundations for deeper skin really tend to be quite yellow, and yellow really, I don't think, is the predominant undertone for darker skin. So in the description bar, as mentioned, there is a list of great foundations for deeper skin tone. You may need to get a color adjuster, and these can come in different colors such as yellow, red, blue, green, and you may need to add a drop of those to your foundation in order to match it more beautifully to your skin tone. One of the problems that deeper skin tones have is the ashiness that can occur, and this can occur when the foundation is too matte. And also with darker skin, oxidation becomes much more apparent in deeper skin tones. So those things need to be addressed as well. Absorbing excess oil on the skin beforehand, not using over emollient products before, can all go a long way to addressing the ashiness. If you have discoloration on the skin under the eyes or around oftentimes it's around the kind of upper lip area and perhaps the chin, then you need to use a corrector, and you can find these in bisque and sort of peach shades. These can go a long way to correcting those discolorations, and applied either before or after your foundation, they will completely remove them. So there is also a list of those in the description bar for you as well. Another thing to bear in mind to counteract some of the ashiness that can occur, try not to use a translucent powder because they rarely are actually translucent. HD powders are perfectly fine when used sparingly, but they don't photograph great, particularly on darker skin, so you need to bear that in mind. I prefer to use a coloured powder on deeper skin tones, preferably one with a kind of burnt orange undertone to it because they look gorgeous on deeper skin tones. Bronzers and blushes and powders with shimmering also look amazing on deeper skin tone because they add dimension and definitely help to counteract any ashiness that can occur. So bronzer with shimmering will look absolutely gorgeous on deeper skin tones, as will blushes with shimmer, particularly NARS do Taj Mahal, which is a very, very burnt gold orange. It's amazing and looks completely beautiful and natural on deep skin tones. So you need to really, I mean, it's just one of the best colors for deep skin tones. The oranges, try and stay away from sort of purpley blushes, because purple looks great on the eyes. It doesn't tend to look that great on the cheeks. Unless it's something you like, then go for it. But think about the, you know, in terms of NARS, because they do Exhibit A, which looks great on all skin tones, and they do the Taj Mahal, which looks great on the deeper skin tones. Try and think of the golds, the really sort of really deep orangey golds. They look just beautiful on the face. And below, as mentioned again and again, is in the description bar all of the foundation and the companies that make for really deep skin tones, so you can always find something. It's a shame that we don't live in a time where we can go to just the drugstore, we can go to the chemist, or we can go to the department store and know that we will find a foundation there from every company that will cater to all skin tones, from the very, very lightest up until the very deepest skin tones that we can find, because pigmentation becomes a massive issue. If you have very light skin, a sheer blush will stand out on you. If you have very deep skin, a sheer blush isn't going to make any impact at all. The same goes for eyeshadow. So when you're dealing with those kind of skin tones and deeper skin tones, you need to think about the pigmentation. Swatch it on the back of your fingers, have a look at it. If you need to keep going over it and over it and over it, don't bother, because it'll just become a hassle and you'll get bored quickly. You need strong pigment, and all products, in my opinion, should be strong pigment. You shouldn't have to continually build up product, because you're going to burn through it like nobody's business. And again, companies should cater to everybody. All products should be pigmented enough that they will show up on all skin tones, and hopefully we will move towards that as you know, as time and progression and companies wake up to the fact that there are people out there with pale skin, and there are people out there with the deeper skin tones, and they need to be catered for. So I hope you found this interesting, some little bits of information, and of course the information on the companies that will cater towards you. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.